So, welcome. You can make your presentation. Yes. So let's give him a round of applause, Miss Kajiado. Good afternoon. How are you? I assume you had a good lunch. Okay. So among the questions that we are discussing in our group, we have the first question, which is, how are the situations for children in your country or your community affecting you as a child? So we got to a conclusion that when there is drought and there is famine, this affects the children in that the drought and the famine leads to lack insufficient kindly. Okay, let's do this. All of you, breathe in for me. Breathe in. Breathe out. Again for me, in. Out. Okay, I'm better. You're so supportive. So when there is famine, this leads to the death of animals, right? And these animals, for example, in pastoral communities, the animals that are in the compound of the pastoral communities, they are the animals that are sold in order to gain money so that they can take the children to school, right? When there is famine and the animals die, will there be money for school fees? Will there be? No. So it's affecting the children in that most children will end up becoming school dropouts as there are insufficient funds to take them to school. We have, as this child is not being able to acquire adequate education, there is also the issue of drug and substance abuse. We understand that many of the times our youths are engaged, we as youths, they tend to engage in drugs as a way of, they are idle, right? There is nothing to do, so you result to seek pleasure in various ways, right? So in that aspect of seeking pleasure, they end up engaging in drug and substance abuse, and there follows crime, because once they abuse drugs, they feel like they're on top of the world, and there they begin to steal and engage in very many illicit activities. Then we have the aspect of early child marriages in some parts. I know you're asking yourself, how is early child marriage related to climate change? So there was a time in Kajiado County there was a major drought. It was so major such that I can testify that my uncles would wake up, you go to the cow shed, you find 30 cows are dead. They're simply, you enter a cow shed and you see, it's like, I feel like saying legs up, but they're all dead. You see, this really took a toll on them. They became ill, stress. You know, to us, cows is property, huh? Cows is, it is, how do I say this? It is wealth. Oh, you're so good. So having lost these cows, you feel like you have lost such a big part of you. And having lost such a big part, it takes a toll on your health. Here comes in the aspect of pressure. You begin to get pressure. Children are going back to school. Where am I supposed to get money? Or even you assume, you say, I have children. I have a girl child in my compound. So having a girl, this girl is married off as a way of returning back. You know, when you marry off a girl, what comes in to the bride's family? What comes in? There is dowry, right? And when dowry comes in, you assume it fills up the space that you lost, right? So as the girl is married off, dowry comes back. So this is where the aspect of early child marriages. Now assume where the girl has been married, the father to the groom has refused this girl simply because she's not ready. She's not ready how? In that she has not been circumcised. to some communities still now, even in Maasai, but in the really rural places, they still presume that they consider a woman or a young girl ready for this right after she has undergone circumcision, which is a malpractice, right? It is a myth and it's a misconception, right? We see very many great leaders who did not undergo FGM because FGM has very many effects. It has no good. It has more harm. In fact, it has all harm and no good. Okay. So once the girl she has undergone female genital mutilation, she has been married off at a very early age. These aspects are all brought by climate change. As the drought hits the cattle die, girl married off. Are you understanding this cycle? Wave to me if you're understanding. Wave. Okay. So there comes in that aspect. And even as the girl is married off, there is the issue of school dropout. Because as you're someone's wife, you can no longer continue to go to school. Therefore, you become a school dropout, decreasing the amount of leaders that we are yet to have in future. There was a time I was told that we are told that we are the leaders of tomorrow. But in Kenya, we say mapema ndio. Mapema ndio. So mapema ndio best. We are leaders now, and we will start now. We make our future brighter. And if you start gaining knowledge now, yesterday I told you a verse. Who can remember the verse I said? Let me remind you if you have forgotten. The verse says that, let no one despise your youth, but set believers an example. So as we have attained this conference, we have gained the knowledge, and we have very many things that we have learned and we have gained from this meeting. Thank you so much for raising this platform, because among the many things is that people suffer for lack of wisdom. You suffer because maybe you don't know. You don't know that plastic is harmful to the environment. You don't know that by smoking, by drug and substance abuse, there is usually a passive smoker and an active. There's usually a passive smoker and an active smoker. So if person marked A, see A and B are together in the alphabet, right? So if A is smoking and B is right next to them, B is there. And it is said that B is consuming more than A, right? So drug and substance abuse also has an effect to your health, even if you're not abusing, but you're staying next to a person who is abusing. Maybe the person does not know that it is harmful to their health. It is important that we educate each and every one of us as children, because as children, as one voice, we are louder. Okay? Let us all hold hands.
Hello, guys. I'm also from Group 2. The other question we are given as Group 2 is, how has climate change issues impacted the region where you're living in? How has it impacted your community, your country, as well as the region where you're coming from? So we discussed to say climate change has impacted our communities in the way that it has decreased the population. Of course, not directly, but indirectly. You discover that when there's a drought, there's a famine and all that, people do not have access to food. People do not have access to water. People die. And it decreases the population in that particular society. Mostly the children, because children are the most vulnerable. We have a weaker immune system. Our bodies are just developing as we are growing. So children are mostly affected. Now the other, as my colleague earlier said, there's an increase in crime. Like, we do not have money, there's drought and all that. And then youths have just that. The last option is to engage in crime, and that increases the crime rate. Of course, it's not directly. People do not understand it because it's not directly affecting. It's indirectly affecting us. There's also lack of habitats for some animals. You discover that whenever there's deforestation, animals lose their homes, they lose the trees they live in and all that. The biodiversity is affected in the different regions where we're coming from. And also, there's an increase in terms of homelessness for children. Like, children, whenever the family is doing badly and all that, you might find that the child will just go out of the family and rather be a street kid, start begging for some money or two, so that they can more like try to help the family. And also, we were asked the question to say, are leaders in your community doing enough to address the discussion of climate change? Like, are they doing enough? Our group said they are doing something, but it's not enough. So let me just give a practical example, right? Where I'm coming from in Zambia, there was this law that was recently approved. The law says that we need to plant about 2,000 trees per district. I don't know, in Kenya you call it a county? Yes, so we need to plant about 2,000 trees per county if you are in Kenya, or per district if you are in Zambia. So you discover to say, okay, you plant 2,000 trees, but yet you are cutting down like 100,000 trees. That does not impact, the climate change mitigation, if you know what I mean, right? It does not impact climate change mitigation at all. Leaders are doing something, of course, but it's not enough. They cannot say we plant 1,000 trees, but yet they are cutting down 100,000. Yes, thank you.
To the fourth question, that was, what will you like to see being done by the decision makers to make life better for children? So, we agreed that should make awareness to those people who are living in different countries or even the regions. If you make awareness of these people, if you go just in the rural areas, then you make aware of those people that climatic change can make us do bad acts, like other people may die, or even people can engage themselves in stealing or drug abuse. Those people will maybe listen to you and make a change. Also, to use methods of energy, like if there will be plastics in some areas, instead of just being scold or boisterous to these leaders to do something, they can just use the best method to do this. For example, they can just set dustbins in those areas to collect those plastics bottles, so that they can reduce the rate of plastics in those areas. So now, how can decision makers make them better? Those decision makers, to make these rules better for those children, they should involve children for different areas. Like now, there are people from different countries which are just involved in this, making these decisions for us. So if children are invited to do this, the rules become just simple for everyone to understand, and if these people are given this message, they can take it to their homes so that it can be followed. Let me say thank you for that.
So our topic was about land, agriculture, and water use. So we majorly focused upon the effects be seeing our country looking like, but that's how it is. So it was about land, agriculture, and water use, which is why you see this river. It's beginning from a highland and it's sliding down to the lowlands. But to the lowlands, there is a factory, and this factory, its method of releasing waste is by releasing it to the river. So having released it to the river, this same water leads to the dying of the fish, which is why, they are floating because they are dead. And this same water is the same water that the pupils of this school are drinking. There comes in the issue of many people are going to get sick because of contamination of the water. We also have the fumes that this industry is releasing. Okay, the colors, but there is smoke here. This smoke, as the continuous production of the smoke leads to carbon emissions, which are they destroy the ozone layer, and having destroyed the ozone layer, it interrupts with the sun rays, the sun's emissions to us. So this village, the members of this village, I believe that it is high time that the villagers that they are educated on the importance of utilizing this source of rivers, because once they come here and they wash their clothes here, yet they are still the ones who are going to come and drink the water, and they complain that we are not, it's not safe for us, and they are still the ones. Again, my people suffer for lack of wisdom. So I believe if they are educated and they are told on the importance of utilizing and taking care of these sources of rivers, it should be a better place for them. Here there is a mining site, and in this place, mining has taken place, but the people who have mined there did not clean up after themselves. So this piece of land is just covered by boulders. these big boulders, they prevent this land from being used for any other use. Remember, these villagers, they may be wondering, where can we plant, or where can we get land that we may be able to begin agriculture? Yet there is land here that is not being used due to the presence of boulders. So had we been having these mining people cleaning up after themselves, then the land would also have been used for something that is more appropriate, that has more fruits compared to big rocks by the roadside. So yes, that is our present. Our group had very many children, which is why everyone chipped in. Yes. I seek the permission to give one of them a nickname. So I'll choose and he'll give the nickname. And I choose you. And so after choosing you, let's you receive your nickname.
Big Daddy.
So how many are left? How many are left? Remaining groups, that's your target.
A round of applause, a round of applause, a round of applause. Let me get a comment. Just a second, guys. We need to take a photo of you guys, so you can just stand there. I think our photographer is on this side, okay? Let me get also comments from our very own Dr. John. Can get comments maybe from that group presentation together with Dr. Dr. Robert. Let me call it Dr. Robert. Give us also a comment on this. All right.
Thank you so much. First of all, let's give them the very nice clap. This is beautiful. You have done us proud. We are aware that as a continent, you've really come out with the impacts of climate change, and I'm happy that you are able to really portray, and you are so emotional when it came to the issue of the way we have lost a lot of livestock, and why even also wildlife, especially as a country like Kenya. We are so we depend on tourism, and I think we lost a lot of elephants, a lot of many other animals, and that is, and at the same time again you have also talked about the issue of another impact on waste management and pollution, and also trying to also come up with mitigation measures, and I think to us you really understood. We only need one now to make sure that we take the recommendations and now take it to another level to actually protect our planet and also protect the future of the children who are actually you.
Wow, wise words, wise words. One more comment from Dr. Robert.
I should protest. I'm Ribobo. I used to have that as a nickname way back in primary school. So I would also like to add voice and say thank you very much. I like your outfit, and from the way you all spoke, you spoke to the place of our own capital as Africa. The fact that we are pastoralists, the fact that we use cattle to solve some of our issues, I think that was very brilliant. And actually you were able to launch that and speak about the African child in her or his own setting. I think that was very great. We usually have these abstract notions. This child needs shampoo, this child needs to wash her hair, but you spoke about the fact about pastoralism, about things that affect this child. I think that was very important. Then the other aspect, you were able to show us that we should not look at climate change as one abstract thing. We should look at it from the perspective that it affects the enjoyment of all other rights. Rights to education, right to health, right to life, and that came out strongly. And I liked your visual description. When you spoke about it, it came alive. It made a lot of sense. And I think we are now more challenged, more than ever before, to see that we are able to translate your participation into actual meaningful engagement. Thank you very much.
All right, a round of applause, a round of applause. Thank you so much, thank you so much. That was team 2. That was team 2, right? All right, so let's all stand. Let's all stand, let's all stand, let's all stand. Even our chief guest, let's all stand. Let's all stand, let's all stand. All right, we've been seated for quite a while, and I want us to stretch a little. I want us to stretch a little. I want us to stretch a little. All right, let's stretch, let's stretch, let's stretch. Okay? All right? So let's do this. Everyone? All right? All right? All right? Hands on the waist. Hands on the waist. Now let's go to our left side all the way until you touch the floor. Until you touch the floor. Some people are not touching the floor. As you can see, I am. Look at Ribobo. Let's go to right. Touch the floor, touch the floor. Touch the floor. Hands in the air, hands in the air. Let's go down like this. Touch the floor. Touch the floor. Right. Hands in the air, hands in the air. Your left arm on top of your right arm, like this. Okay, now stretch the right arm until it reaches the back of your neck and rolls from your neck and back and back and back. Just like this. Alright, let's move the other arm. Alright. We're gonna do something small called Simon Says. Say Simon Says. Alright, Michelle.
So we're going to play a little game. I want you to be your neighbor's keeper. Even our guests. Watch our guests very well. You make sure none of them are cheating.
Yes.
So I hope everybody knows Simon Says, right? So Simon Says touch your head. Simon Says touch your shoulders. Simon Says touch your knees. Simon Says touch your toes. Simon Says clap. Continue
Very
clapping,
good.
continue clapping. I didn't say stop. Stop.
Stop. Stop. Simon Says stop. Alright, so when you miss, you sit down, okay? Very, very fast. In the next 5 minutes, you're doing this activity. Are you guys ready? If the guests of honor also miss, they what? Are you guys ready? Okay.
Okay, so Simon Says touch your head. Simon Says rub your stomach. Simon Says stamp your feet. Stamp your feet.
Clap. Very good. Now sit down. Who? Both of them. The both of them.
Your neighbor's keeper, who hasn't sat down and they clapped? Who hasn't sat down and they clapped? Sit down, just sit down. Be your neighbor's keeper, sit down.
Okay, another round.
So Simon Says clap. Sit down, let's sit down.
Thank you so much. Let's sit down.
Let's
Thank
sit
you so
down.
much. Let's sit
Let's
down.
sit down.
Thank you so much. Did Simon say we sit down? Wow.
Let's give him a round of applause. He didn't stop.
He didn't stop.
He didn't
All right.
stop.
Okay. Now let's sit down. Eh? No, I've said we sit down. I'm the one who's saying let's sit down. Until Simon says. But I'm the one saying sit down, so sit down. Okay, Simon says clap. Simon says sit down.
Just clap for yourselves. You guys are doing a great job. Clap for yourselves.
All right.
Okay, so for the remaining groups, let's please take the shortest time possible. I am timing you for 3 minutes each group, please. Just talk about your key issues, your solutions, and your paintings. So we're going to go to group 4.
No, the small ones. The small ones. All right. Okay. Guys. So this is what we're going to do. We've touched on most of the key issues. Okay. So when you come here, let's present the recommendations. Okay. These are the key stakeholders in this sector. Okay. And let's present the recommendations. Okay. If there are 1 or 2 key issues you feel like have not been touched by the first 2 groups, you can touch on them. Okay. But first, I want us to get the team 9. They call team BS. The team 5P. Say team 5P. Team 5P. These are our kids from age 0 to 9. We literally have someone from 0 who's going to do a presentation as well. Are you guys excited? Are you guys excited? Okay, let's get our 0 to 9.
Let's give them a round of applause.
To 10. Okay. A round of applause as they come. A round of applause. A round of applause. Let's keep encouraging them. At this age, I know some of you are playing with mud and they are presenting something. Yeah. Especially our chaperones. I know most of us at this age, we were either planning to take something from our parents or playing with mud. And they're presenting something. This is quite great. All right?
That's good. Let us move to the back. Alright, so when you answer, we can give you the microphone. You answer.
Facing them.
You can show our guests what you've drawn, and then you can also show the rest of the participants what you've drawn. Then you'll explain, right? Sure. So remember when I'll ask you the questions you ask, then when you're answering,
Let me
there are two things we discussed yesterday and today. We discussed what climate change is. Who wants to tell our guests what climate change is? Who has the microphone? With this. The other microphone? Who has to say hello? There are two microphones. Alana wants to tell us what climate change is. Tell us what climate change is.
Hello everyone. My name is Alana Chelangat and I am going to be talking about climate change. So climate change is when the earth temperature gets hot or cold and it goes to different parts of the world, and this is not good for plants, animals and people.
And you can if you pollute the air, the water, or the land, your company should be shut down.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. So you want to shut down companies? Then there's a second thing you talked about. Who wants to talk about the second thing government can do? Who wants to talk about? Where is it? Gotcha. Emanuela, tell us the second thing. Yes, what government can do? Jaden will help us for now, and then Emanuela. Jaden, go ahead.
So the government can spread the laws with different countries around Africa and the world.
Yes, thank you. Then the last one. Thank you. We can spread in Africa and around the world. Emanuela, you can do, and then we finish. Thank you so much. Who wants to say the other thing? It's all right if you don't remember. Who wants to help? Okay, please go ahead. Help her. Help Emanuela.
My name is Idaya Salome.
Yes.
Governments can help poor people.
Governments can help poor people affected by what? Thank you. Everyone give a clap. Thank you so much. Omar, over to you.
By taking them to school and giving them clothes to wear.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's now give the microphone.
A round of applause, a round of applause, a round of applause for them. That was really amazing. Let me get 2 comments. All right? No, because of time, all right? So let me get a comment from, yes? Okay, let me get a comment from Doris. Yes.
Thank you. Can we give them another round of applause because they are really, really amazing. Really amazing children. I'll go very quickly. So, joining forces, the 6th organization of 5, we all have AU offices. And do we know, can anybody tell me how many member states form the African Union? How many member states do we have within the African Union? Yes, right here. 55. That's an excellent answer. Yes, we have 55 member states. And we're talking about governments making laws to ensure that those affected by our climate change receive the necessary aid and assistance. What we can do as organizations that have offices, liaison offices at the AU. So we have the privilege of engaging 55 member states at a time. In preparation for this meeting, we met with the AU chair, which is held by Comoros, to tell them that children, young people, need to have a voice at least at the opening and at the closing ceremony, at minimum. That's a minimum. So what we can do is really to amplify your voice, to ensure that we open doors, that you can engage with people like Mr. Joseph, who was here, who listened to you, and I can tell you he was very impressed by what you said. And the fact you were so eloquent, he left this room a changed person. He said, "You are impressive." That's what he said before he left. So you are amazing. Can you give yourself a round of applause because you are amazing? Organizations that have joining forces, AU offices, knock on their door, say we want to meet with them. We have recommendations. You have excellent, really excellent recommendations. What we will do is to ensure that you meet those people so you can present your recommendation directly to those who will be making decision. One last thing. Tomorrow, the official meeting, the summit will start. We'll have ministers coming here. For those children who are here, if you know that your minister is in town, find out from your chaperone whether you know that your minister is coming. Said, I want to meet my minister. So that's on the 4th. On the 5th, Heads of state will be here. You have the right to request a meeting as a child, as a young person. You have the right to request a meeting with your heads of state. Talk to your chaperone, talk to the joining forces teams and say, I really want to meet my president, because they will be adopting an important document. I don't know if yesterday you had a chance to talk about the Nairobi Declaration on Climate Change. It will be adopted by heads of states on the 5th, and you have a say. You need to make sure that your concerns that you are presenting here are integrated. And we also have the representative of the First Lady. Please tell her. We want to talk to the First Lady. We want to present our recommendation. You as children. So those would be my tips for the way forward. Of course, we will also have COP28, but this is the beginning. Tomorrow and the day after tomorrow will be extremely important, because that declaration, the Nairobi Declaration on Climate Change, is absolutely essential for the future of our continent with regard to climate change. Thank you.
A round of applause, a round of applause, a round of applause. Thank you so much, Team 5P. Let's have our seats. Let's grab our seats. Thank you so much. At this point, we move to Team 3. Team 3, where is Team 3? Team 3? All right. So Team 3, we are taking, I'm really sorry, but you're going to take 2 minutes only. 2 minutes, all right? Because of time, and we really need to wrap up. So 2 minutes, okay? As we finish. So
my name is Amokoroni from South Sudan, a climate change activist and the group leader for Group 3.
My name is Samuel Kitonga. I'm from Kenya, anti-drug advocate from Kajiado County.
Hi, my name is Diana Kwamboka from Kiambu County. I'm from Kenya.
We are Group 3. Our topic is sustainable agriculture, land and water or ocean use. I would like my colleague to discuss the effects of climate change.
So we did a general theme. I'm going to discuss the challenges. The first challenge we saw was deforestation. A lot of people or large populations are cutting down trees for building, for shelter, and for various other reasons. The issue is not just cutting down. The issue is the lack of replacement of the trees that are cut down. I believe that this point has been expounded on more than once. Yeah. The second effect, the second challenge was agrochemical influence. We have had a lot of cases about leaded food, about GMO chickens. There are a lot of agrochemical influences that have an impact or a side effect on our health. And this is causing unfathomable diseases to our population.
affect African children. Now, because of climate change, it will affect illiteracy. Illiteracy means that you are not going to be exposed, you're not going to be opportune to acquire knowledge. And also, it will increase those street children, wherein these children will no longer have homes. Because, looking at Africa, our solely occupation of our parents, they are farmers. So if they are unable to have money, they are unable to have areas where they can have income, then they are not going to send their children to school. Their children are going to be homeless, and also they are not even going to concentrate there in schools, like especially during the rainy seasons, because when the rain is coming, the parents will prefer to hold their children because the thought is that will be the best way for them to protect them from death, for them to protect them from flooding, and also food insecurity. Our food will not be sufficient, where we'll be dying of hunger, and also waterborne diseases. I don't know if it's common here. For example, in Sierra Leone, we have malaria, we have a lot of sicknesses, we have a lot of diseases, waterborne diseases. So these are some of the effects that we will have if we are unable to control climate change in Africa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So for the solutions, I will just make it quick. So in the afforestation sector, we want implementation of climate finance. For example, having projects on plantation of trees in schools and communities and other districts or anything. So we suggested for all governments to put a certain month or a day where the whole nation plants trees. For example, in Zimbabwe, every first Saturday of December, the whole nation plants trees. So we also suggest that the government and organization to provide water tanks and construction of dams for shortage of water. So I think that is it. We can now go to our presentation, which we did a painting here.
So I'll be very brief with this. So this red part over here that is covered with these blue dots, it represents the pollution that is in the ocean. So pollution is a factor that contributes to climate change. When people throw away our waste, the waste ends up in the ocean, which makes the ocean to be toxic. And then the red part also shows that our water systems are under strain, and we are facing a huge water scarcity. So this yellow part represent dry land. Climate change causes lands to become dry because of low precipitation and prolonged dry seasons. Many people may get waterborne diseases because there is shortage of drinking water. Okay, so we see this beautiful, this tree over here. This side is beautiful, it's green, it shows large vegetation, and then this side we find that it's withered away. So this shows the initial Africa before climate change. So after climate change, we find that okay, the trees are withering away. Things are not the way that they were. Just like in some places they are used to experiencing those maximum rainy seasons where they can plant or they can do their agricultural practices. But now we find that in those areas they are no longer receiving rainfall, which means that they can't plant, which means that it will lead to food insecurity and other things. We also find places that are experiencing floods. So by that, I mean like infrastructure is being destroyed, hospitals are being destroyed, which means that even children cannot get maximum healthcare, and also education may also be disturbed because when infrastructure is being destroyed, it also takes money from the government so they can actually fix those things. So with that being said, okay, and this green, this black part with this white things over here, they represent the gas emissions. We know that emissions, we can get them from vehicles when we are burning fossil fuels to generate power. So this is to show that we need to use more renewable sources of energy like hydroelectric power, solar and wind energy. But for that to happen, we also need the government to also invest. And I would love to encourage all the governments of Africa that we must be united together. We must share technologies, we must share projects, and we must collaborate. Thank you.
Okay, so because of time, thank you so much, Group 4. That was Group 4. All right, a round of applause for Group 4. A round of applause for Group 4. Thank you so much for that. Group 5, where are you? Group 5? Group 5? Group 5. So this is what we're going to do. Most of the things that we are saying, most of them are just repeating ourselves. All right. because we all discussed this among many other things yesterday, all right? So what you're doing is just going to present and talk about your art, okay? Just to talk about your art, and then we finish. 1 minute, okay?
Hello, everyone. So for our group 5, first of all, I'm Yari Fenail. I come from Kenya.
You can call me Siama Santina Ayal. I come from South Sudan.
I'm Becky Bahati from Kenya.
So because of time, we're just going to present our art and then give our recommendations. So for us, we were doing adaptation and resilience to climate risk in Africa. So we decided to draw the map of Africa to represent all the countries in Africa, and then suggested some of the activities, because we knew that adaptation, these are the activities that we do so that we can survive with the situation, how it's going. And resilience, we said that it is your capability to withstand a certain difficulty. So some of our activities, we said that we could implement irrigation, use solar panels so as to avoid those exhaust fumes from the leads. Also, we said that we could collect water when the rain falls down. Seedlings, this is where the government provides seedlings to the citizens so that they can plant. And also, before I finish, while at resilience, I would like to ask our decision makers here, because you guys are from different ministries. Back our country, we were told that we're not supposed to use nylon papers. So the NEMA, the National Environment Management Authority, so I wonder where they went, because ever since that time I've not seen them. So if just any of you could tell us like what happened. Yeah.
Before we go, we're just going to work on the last 2 questions. That was how can you see the decision makers making life better for the children? We're just going to summarize it into one big one. We want the decision makers to at least take action in whatever thing they are saying. Well, you might see this conference being done, but when we are done here, we shall not see the action being taken. So this is a challenge to our decision makers. So they should be taking action in whatever policies that they raise to help in climate change. The last one was like, how would you see...
Okay, 20 seconds, 20 seconds.
Question 5, decision makers should make sure that children are involved in decision making, like what is happening, and they should make sure that children take action in whatever they are told. Well, children, they do understand more than the adults. So if you tell the children to do this, they can do it. If you tell them to plant trees and follow them up, they can do it. But if you tell adults, they cannot. Thank you.
All right, a round of applause, a round of applause. Team 6, team 6, team 6. Team 6, team 6. Team 6, team 6. Team 6, team 6, team 6. You guys are going to speak about your art, all right? Only about your art. 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay, because of time, only 1 minute. I'm starting to count. 60.
Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. I like that energy. Thank you. I am part of group 6. My name's Afeni Njoki. I'm Dennis Law. I'm Irene Dangu. And together we're going to summarize all questions into one. And as you see our art, could you please hold it up? Thank you. Our art here is summarizing climate finance and carbon credit. In our group we explained that because, well, climate finance, guys. What is climate finance? We're holding the government, the leaders, and the people who've been polluting our land accountable for what they have done to our country, for our continent Africa. And here we have an answer to question number 1, which was holding people accountable for the corporal punishments, deprived families and homes, division of level of education. This is when we have 2 sectors. We have kids who are not learning the same education system. You know that in Kenya we have this still transitioning from 844, and then we have what? Yeah. And this is bringing confusion. Like, where are our 844 students going to go?
30 seconds.
We're going to have, okay, Sawa. In my drawing, our drawing here, our solution was we have a Climate Finance Act, which is a policy and together a law, which we hold accountable, for the companies that are still using fossil fuels, right? Here we have a dead cow. Our Maasais still suffer from this, our nomadic cultures from all over Africa. This is a problem because everyone suffers. Here is our dead cow. We have our big bank here that owns money, right? These companies ask for loans to be able to build bigger companies and still emit fossil fuels into our land. However, if we have this Climate Finance Act, it will reject and deny any big company that wants to borrow money for such thank you, for such acts, right? And on this side, we have an irrigation scheme, which is a greenhouse activity. We have trees that were done by the children. Please clap for our able children. Thank you so much. And we have solar panel plants. This is a way of generating electricity other than using the batteries. And because Africa is 30 to 40% built with green minerals,
10.
we can use ourselves and our resources to be able to build a better future.
5.
In a nutshell, talking about climate finance, as she has said, we have banks which will have loans, aids and grants to support green movements, like for example in the rural areas, to provide for them, to give them loans so that they may be able to access things like the solar, to also, like the government, to dig boreholes, ensure there is water in the rural areas in order to prevent rural to urban migration, which will cause damage in the urban centers. We also,
all right,
that will also help in job opportunities in the rural areas.
Yes.
So if we have investors, we have the government providing loans, funds, and also education. It will be a good way of finance and funding our people in the fight against climate change.
A round of applause, a round of applause, a round of applause. I am really sorry, but thank you so much, Team 6, for that amazing presentations. Some of these people will still be around immediately after this, so please approach them with your art, approach them with what you have. If you have something that you want to give them individually, you can talk to them and see if they can be able to do that, all right? But at this point, I want to get a remarks from each of you, each of our chief guests, and I'm going to start with Dr. John, representative from the Office of the First Lady, to give us his remarks. 2 minutes, and then we finish. You can do it from the podium. Yes, about the whole thing, as we wrap up, all right? Yeah.
Appreciate the organizers of this pre-summit. Indeed, it has been a week. I'm sure you've been able to go through several discussions before you come up to today when you are actually making submissions. And as coming from the Office of the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, as I said, I want to give you our greetings. And as I sat there, I was so happy, especially when I see serious representation from the continent of Africa. And this is a nice mosaic that we would actually want to really appreciate. And I want to clap for yourself for the good work that you have. It gives me a great pleasure to be here today to represent the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, Mrs. Rachel Ruto, in my capacity as the CEO of Mama Doing Good, the organization that delivers the programs of the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya. At Mama Doing Good, we believe in catalyzing socio-economic transformation in communities to achieve the quality, holistic life through spirituality, collective agency, voice, and influence. Mama Doing Good is also committed to catalyze women, youth, and learner-led climate action that improves the adaptive and mitigative capacity of the society to climate change. And I'm so happy. Whatever you saw here today, I'm happy that we are actually addressing the learners. These are the people who are in school, and they was talking about from zero in terms of age. I was still waiting to see the one for zero in terms of age. But I'm yet to see. Maybe I'll still sit here to be shown the 0 years. And I was so happy to listen at a talk from South Africa all the way to Morocco, and from Morocco all the way to Mozambique, and from Uganda all the way to Mali or all that. The people who are just here. This is just the thing that I'm so happy, because you are able to discuss, and you are able to discuss. You understood the concept. You understood the problem, and I think at the moment it is not a question of. We started with what is the problem in terms of climate change. Is it a myth? Is it a dream? But actually, from the way you understood, you have actually talked about, first of all, what climate change is. You have even told us what are the impacts of climate change. You have also told us about how to solve the problem of climate change. Please clap for yourself. You are great people. Because for sure, coming from the young people. And you have also told us that the future is you. And you have even told us that as young as you are, you don't want to take chances, because the elder people might not be able to take care of your interests, and you're already fighting for your interests. You are actually saying it is now or never. We need your issues to be discussed in the highest level in terms of the structure. And I think the organizers of this function really felt that this is actually the best time to actually come up with your presentations to be taken to the next level. And I'm sure, as you know, I'm actually from the office of the First Lady. I would be able to, by the way, she would have wished to be here. That's why she sent me and told me to listen up to the last minute what the children of Africa are actually saying. Mama Doing Good is structured in a 3-tier. In our institution where I come from, we have the Women Economic Empowerment, Environment and Climate Action, and also Faith Diplomacy. The Office of the First Lady recognizes the role of the learners in environmental conservation and climate action. So allow me to address the learners today. Climate change is no longer a topic that we discuss in low tones. Kenya has seen the worst climate change in the last 40 years, where some areas were missed rainfall for 5 consecutive seasons. All over our continent, across the world, we see devastating effects of climate change. I am sure there was somebody who stood here today, talked about the loss of animals, the loss of crops, and even the death of some people across Africa. We even saw that with the coming in of climate change, we have actually seen an upsurge of several diseases, whether it is actually waterborne or diseases related to the change in climate change, in our climate. Our focus today is what should we do so that we can actually mitigate the effects, or rather adapt to the effects of the climate change. And immediate action is all of us to plant trees. The President of Kenya, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, the President of Kenya, on 22nd December launched the National Tree Growing Restoration Campaign, which targets to mobilize the nation in planting and growing 15 billion trees by the year 2030, translating to 30% of national tree cover. One of the things you discuss here, and I think it came several times, was how to mitigate climate change and how to adapt to climate change. And one of the ways to mitigate climate change was to plant trees. As Africa, we need to plant trees. We know for most of the parts of Africa, they are actually arid and semi-arid. But we want to try as much as possible to ensure that we can plant trees to increase the forest cover so that the forest can actually become the sink of the greenhouse gases. And one of the things we are doing in Kenya is His Excellency, there's already a legal mechanism that we want to ensure that by the year 2030, we should have planted 15 billion trees so that we can be able to increase the forest cover and also reduce the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and therefore reduce the climate change effects. We have committed as Office of the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya to plant or to grow 500 million trees by the year 2032 to support the government agenda of increasing the forest cover to 30%. As learners, that is you. You can be agents of change, environmental stewards, and climate change and restoration ambassadors. I'm so happy, ladies and gentlemen, that today we have people from different parts of this country. You are ambassadors, wherever you come from, whether it is Malawi, whether it is Zambia, whether it is Morocco, for example, or Senegal, for example. You have come to this country today to say that us as people of Africa, as continent of Africa, this is our focus. And I want to actually challenge you that as you go back home, don't just go home as you should be proud of Africa. You should be proud of this continent and say we are one people, and we are actually focused to make sure that issues to do with climate change are actually done and actually reduced by all of us as people of Africa. Here are some of the simple ways so now you can join the greening movement. Plant Your Age is a simple tree growing campaign where each of you just plants trees that equal to your age. I know you are talking about 0 years, you are talking about 1 year, 2, 3. Some of you are saying you are 11 years, 13 years, 14 years. And if you are 13, you know you'll be in 14. If you are 10, you'll be in 11. Sinibo. And therefore, that means we can actually say anytime you are celebrating your birthdays, then you do what? What do? You plan your age, Sinivo. What you are saying, if you are 14, plan how many trees? If you are 15, how many trees? If you are 5, how many? So if you do that in your own country, we shall be able to reduce the climate change. The other one is green schools, where you plant your trees in schools. All of you come from schools. You are telling me, everybody was just saying, I come from this kind of school, you come from Uganda, you come from Ethiopia, and you're actually saying the school you are actually coming from. When you go back home, go and arrange the way we are doing it in Kenya to plant trees in our schools. And the Kenyan learners who are here will tell you that there's a program from government that we want to ensure that we plant trees in every school. And we actually do what we call the fruit cadence. The other one is the First Ladies. We are participating in the First Ladies Environment and Climate Change Award, which will be launched on Thursday, 7th September at the KICC during the Africa Climate Week. It is an award by Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, Mama Rachel Ruto, through Mama Doing Good, for learners across all the schools in Kenya, including special need learners to paint, draw, and write essays in English and Kiswahili as part of the challenge or the competition. Here you need to know and understand environmental conservation and climate action, and creatively demonstrate to us what it means to you and provide solution. You saw what they were doing here. Every group was actually showing, there was a discussion, and then there was a drawing, and there were a serious, discussion here. We are saying in Kenya, we are already going to organize for what we call a competition on matters to do with climate change. And it starts all the way from lower primary. And then it comes to secondary, all the way from primary school, secondary school. And it comes to, in Kenya, we have what we call the counties. So we start in a sub-county, in a location, we go to a sub-county, and then finally we come to a regional counties, and then from there we come to national. The best students who will be chosen after drawing or doing a very good essay, we shall always reward them by giving them a reward. And they will be able to shake hands with His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya. And then after that, they will be, the best students will also be taken to the next scope. Like now, if they do well next year, this year, they will be taken now to COP 28 in Dubai. Then the ones who will do well next year, they will be taken to the next COP. That is actually what we are actually arranging. And I'm therefore asking you, especially the Kenyan learners, that you have an opportunity that now you can participate, and we would want to see you actually performing and going all the way to COP or the conference of parties. Don't you think so? Yes, and we are also asking, this is something that can be done elsewhere. I think this is a model we are talking about Kenya. It can also be done in Malawi, Zambia, it can be done in South Africa, it can be done elsewhere, anywhere in this continent. You are important players in the future of our planet. You will grow to make new discoveries that will help us adapt to climate change and stabilize our planet. You will fill our earth with trees and fully restore our natural environments. We have hope in you. As I finish, I want to say that I'm so grateful to the people who have actually organized for this function. This is indeed, I think as I stand here, the chief guest was supposed to be the First Lady. As I stand here, I'm doing it on her behalf. That one, whatever you have actually discussed here today, I want to call upon the organizers to make a very good memorandum, and I would be able to discuss with the CEO of African Climate Summit and other leadership, so that we can actually see how your recommendations can be part and parcel of the declarations of the Nairobi climate change. I know this is actually indeed going to be very useful. Secondly, I want to say this. There was a learner who actually came out with very nice, what was it? The poet. That on 7th, when Her Excellency the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya is going to launch the climate change challenge, I want to ensure to tell you that we are going to take her to make sure that she makes that, she meets Her Excellency. Yes. So I am sure the organizers who are here today can organize, and then we can be able to see this happens. And therefore, I'm sure as you go back home, the organizers who have been generous enough to bring these delegates from wherever they are, that we as people of Kenya, we thank you and we really honor you. And we believe that moving forward, this is the way to go. Next time, let's go to South Africa. Next time, let's go to just across here in Ethiopia. Let us also go to Nigeria and that kind of a thing. I think if we do that on a yearly basis, we are going to ensure that we solidify our continent, and we make sure the future of these people is actually as bright as they want. And they would be able to say, thank you for the people who were there before. And we want to assure you as adults that we are going to take care of your interests. But above all, make sure you actually fight for your interests, and that interest, it is actually the beginning from now, saying we want to be part and parcel of the climate change discussions. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause. Wow, that is amazing, isn't it? We want to be involved in climate change, right? In climate action, yes. So our next chief guest is George Otimo. He's the County Director of Plan International. He will also be representing the joint forces, the 6 joint forces. Yes, you have a question? Okay. Please take the shortest time possible.
Hello guys, my name is Wycliffe Gedoi, and I'm asking for a request. I'm asking for those people who don't have the badge, so they can you please let them to go to KCC free without the badge.
You have heard their requests, yes. Mr. George, you are welcome.
Good evening, children of Africa. Yes, I would like to begin by appreciating all of you. We have demonstrated what resilient means because you have been here like for the last 2 days, and this is the third day. And when we see the energy in you, it is really amazing. And also you have demonstrated the power of engaging the children and the kind of wisdom that you can get from them. When you look at the solution that you have presented today, it is really great. And if all the leaders in all their various capacity could take your recommendation seriously, then the issue about climate change will be an history. We live in a world that is fit for the children. I am here representing Joining Forces Alliance. I would like to introduce, or maybe I'd like to mention briefly about Joining Forces Alliance. This is an organization of about 6 INGO that works on the right of the children. And they have come together because they believe that collective power in harnessing, listening to the voice of the children, we can create a world that is fit for children. We can enhance children to attain their rights. And Joining Forces believes in the power of engaging children to sit in the decision-making table and then also to provide solution that works for them. Joining Forces believes that we cannot prescribe solution for the children who are affected on various matters that affects them. And it has been demonstrated today by the solution that they have given, by the issue that they are articulating, and they also did very well in terms of situation analysis. I also know that all of us present here believe that we must take action, not only in Africa, but globally, to address climate crisis and then inequality. And this is because children are more affected than any other person. And also, the children has also demonstrated to us today that the effect of climate change has eroded the livelihood of everyone, whether pastoral livelihood, whether it is agricultural livelihood, whether it is mining and industry. And they have also demonstrated how children are heavily affected in terms of forced early child marriages, in terms of dropping out of school, in terms of child labor, in terms of promoting harmful traditional practices like FGM. You have articulated that one very well, and you were able to link it to the effect of climate change. And also, as a result of consultation with other children and even some other research, it has been established that the effect of climate change disproportionately affect the children. And as we speak now, there's a research that demonstrates that every second, 48 life is being lost due to hunger in Africa, due to malnutrition, and this is being perpetuated by the effect of climate change. And for us, as Joining Forces Alliance, we will be taking this recommendation seriously, what you told us, and also as the world gathered during this African Climate Summit, let us prioritize a climate-led initiative that the solution have been prescribed by the children because they know how they are affected and they have described for us the best solution. And also, the children also articulated various issues and they gave us solution from rapidly transitioning from renewable to renewable energy, where investment in renewable energy will result into not only good life for the children, but also protecting our environment. Children also enumerated what kind of action need to be taken to enhance green mining and responsible manufacturing industry. They highlighted the protection of water resources. They highlighted the protection of land and land degradation. They articulated that one very well. The children also articulated from the presentation the solutions around sustainable land use and sustainable agriculture. They also talk about climate financing. They talk about carbon credit. And all these solutions make sense. And if we really take it forward, it will really be good for us. In the interest of time, I will not present all that I wanted to let you know through joining forces, but I'll only talk about 3 asks, and this has also come from the children very, very well. One of them is about adaptation and resilience. The children has defined what resilient means very well. I know for us working in the NGO world, there's a lot of jargon that at times the definition confuses us. They have defined what next as programming means. They have defined what resilient means. So therefore, as we live from here, let us prioritize protecting children and securing justice for children as they are in the front line and they are bearing the brunt of the climate crisis. We also want to ensure that children have meaningful seat at the decision-making table. I know the representative from the Office of the First Lady has talked about that. I'm glad that the memorandum from here will be part of the, I wish it will be, not that we wish, we demand that it will be part of the final resolution that is going to be made in terms of Nairobi Declaration, where the voice of the children are acted upon to. We also want a situation where children will be holding leaders accountable. They could securing some kind of commitments. That in Nairobi Declaration, this is what the leaders have committed to the children that they are going to implement in the medium term, in the long term, and then also in the immediate term. Our children say that we don't listen to them. We make promises, empty promises, but we don't act on them. And I believe if they had power in terms of making decision on budget, decision on the priority development for the country, all this climate crisis would be an issue. So we really insist and demand that children be present in decision-making table, and the resolution should be part of the final thing. Another thing also about climate financing, financing a just and green future for children would really be great if we could do it. And therefore, joining forces call upon African governments to prioritize domestic financing, resourcing through progressive tax, so that some of the industry, the higher income level strata, they should be taxed more, so that that money is reinvested in tackling the impact of climate change. And this should also go to addressing the need of the children, especially those who are highly affected. And then also we need to deliver to tackle climate change and then also inequality through maximizing the synergy between green economic development and poverty reduction. The children talked about investing in green mining and green manufacturing, and then also they talked about increasing more investment to the children who are affected by disaster. But if we invest in green economy and green mining, we'll minimize the impact of climate change. And if we don't invest, then we shall see exploitation of the children will still increase in terms of, if we don't have responsible mining, we see children being engaged in mining industry, child labor. We are going to see exploitation of the children. We are also going to see the impact of climate change increasing. So I thank you all, and representative of Joining Forces Alliance are here. And if you have any question, please feel free to interact with us. Feel free to reach us. We all have our contacts available, and we look forward to engaging with you more in our work as we do. We also look forward to facilitating your voices. We look forward to facilitating you to sit in a decision-making table, so that issues that matter to you, you articulate it, and then you shape the future of the development, you shape the future of climate action. I thank you all. Thank you so much.
A round of applause, a round of applause. Thank you so much, Asante Sana. Asante Sana. And I know there's been a question that has been asked about badges, right? The question on badges, I'm going to ask Dr. John to respond.
Thank you so much, and that was a very nice presentation. I think it was almost, you are summarizing almost the recommendations that we want to take it to the next level. Thank you so much. I sat here listening to some of the requests, and one of it was actually on the issue of badges and whether there would be an opportunity for such. As I said, I'll be able to discuss with the people who are involved in approvals of people who are actually coming to the arena. And therefore, I want to promise that I'll be able to discuss with them and come back to, I'll revert back to the organizers, and then we'll be able to see how it is. But it would be my wish that that approval is done. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. John, from the representative from the Office of the First Lady. Right now we have our very own Madam Doris, Director of Plan International, to come and give her remarks. 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes, please, as we finish, yes. Okay. So guys, Dr. John is going to be leaving us at the moment where he's attending another meeting. But a round of applause for the good work that he has done. A round of applause for the good work he has done. He has talked to us. He has answered the questions that we have. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being today here and talking to children. It takes a lot of courage.
Thank you so much.
All right.
See you.
Thank you so much. Asante. All right.
Use this one. Yeah.
All right. So when I stand next to you, you know it's almost time. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be very brief because I did actually give my recommendation. So thank you for this additional 2 minutes. So we first talked about what needs to be done here. It's very important. What we heard today was very important. It's almost historical that because of what you said today, you were able to change the way the decision makers view you. So what we heard today is that tomorrow we may have one person speak at the opening of the summit. And that's because of what you said today. So really a round of applause for yourself because you're doing well. 2, make sure you reach out to your government representative. I hope, really hope that, and that was a brilliant question, I hope that the badges will be granted. 3, it's important that we have those voices in the Nairobi Declaration on Climate Change. And the fact that we had commitments from this stage to ensure that your recommendations find their way in the declaration is really a milestone, really a very important achievement. Let's see whether that's translates. So the test will be tomorrow. But then when you go back, we heard about climate, child marriage, education, all of these issues. When you go back, we know you are activist. We know that you will continue to work on these issues. So I don't have much to add to what I had already said, but I had forgotten 2 important things. One, the CSO Forum is also part of this gathering and organization. So they really need to also receive a round of applause for what they're doing. And the others. So I think going forward, we need to talk about joining forces plus, because this is a demonstration of what we can do together. So thank you very much. And the work begins tomorrow. We need to go and engage with our ministers. We engage with our heads of state. I'm counting on you to influence that outcome document. The Nairobi Declaration on Climate Change needs to be very strong, and you can make it happen. You can, and we certainly believe in your ability to make it happen. You already started making changes here, so we're counting on you tomorrow. And so tomorrow is Tuesday? Yeah, I've lost the track. No, tomorrow is Monday. So Monday and Tuesday, please reach out to your minister, please reach out to your heads of state and present your key recommendations. Insist that those recommendations need to find their way in the Nairobi Declaration on Climate Change. Thank you.
A round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Doris. And thank you for taking exactly 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Our very own Robert is next to come and talk to us, give us a closing remarks basically about what's about today, and to give his remarks basically about today. Thank you so much. A round of applause for him.
My remarks were going to be, I'm sorry, I'm the last one to speak. I'm sorry to stand between you and your right to liberty, but I think that burden has been lifted off me. It will be for my colleague. But I would like to say that there have been very beautiful voices here today. One just spoke about climate change. Juma spoke about the loss of water. Ochieng gave us a very beautiful poem, and it all speaks to the fact that you are able to lead without being leaders in government. So I think it's great that you realize that you're able to lead from where you're leading. It helps us realize these aspects of participation to a much greater perspective, in that as persons who are in place to enable participation, one, there should be an enabling environment for you children to participate. Secondly, the assurance that when you give us your views, those views can be followed through to the latter. And thirdly, when I heard about participation from the 0 to 9, that participation should not be tagged to age. It should be tagged on the fact that you have a view. It should not be tagged on your level of education or expertise. It should be tagged on the fact that you have something to say about what is being presented on the table. And thirdly, that as persons in places of authority, we have an obligation, first of all, to ensure that if we are putting our laws in place, those laws should be to the end that we enable aspects which speak to better climate decisions. Someone gave us a very good chart that showed where you're using aspects of irrigation, where you're not using aspects that speak to more pollution of the environment. I think that's very indicative. And the others, that if we're talking about realities of the child in Africa, it should be informed by what we are going through. At times we do a copy and paste. This is what's happening in Colombia, this is what's happening in Switzerland, but we forget our own realities. I think speaking to our own realities is very important, and that we do not look at climate change in isolation as one big abstract notion, but something that affects all aspects of our lives. I believe if we do so, not only shall we properly count our days, but shall make our days count as we speak to the climate change discourse. With those few words, I thank you so much for listening to me. And please, Hongera, is it called Hongera? Let's move forward and ensure that we change our nations, change our worlds, because it begins with us. With those few words, thank you very much. And I think I've used less than 1 second.
Yes, very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much. So before we continue, our kids, after we finish this whole program, you will be shooting TikToks with our very own guests. Yes, to advertise for our climate summit, right? Yes, we dance with them. We promise dancing. We have Mr. Robert. We have fulfilled your promise. So he will be shooting TikToks. So our next speaker is Mr. Gilbert Kamanga from World Vision Kenya. So a round of applause as he comes. So please take 2 minutes at exact.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. The mic is there.
My mic is here. 2 minutes. 2 minutes starts now. 4 things which you have done to me in these 2 days, but also today. Number 1, you have taught me that children bear the greatest burden for any climate crisis. You have taught me that. Number 2, you have taught me that voices of children and a global voice for environment are very important. Number 3, you have also taught me that what you're asking for leaders is to respect your views, because your voices and perspective and experiences are very important when somebody is making a decision. You have taught me that today. Now I have only one ask for you. If you look at me today and take some maybe 40 years from me, I was somebody like you here. And no one could have believed I would be speaking to you today. They would think, this small boy here will just be walking around. So my request to you is, can you do something about what you have been discussing today? So don't think that someone will be the one only doing, but can you start doing something for yourselves? As for me and my colleagues, we are ready to take your ideas forward, but also to provide room for you and your ideas. As World Vision, just like my colleagues have mentioned, we're a child-focused organization. We respect your views. We want to influence us, but above all, don't be afraid to say what you want to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Less than 2 minutes. Thank you so much. So, to our chief guests, the kids have already started taking action, because tomorrow at State House Day Nursery School, the kids will be planting trees from 8:30. It's only just a 1-hour event, and we are inviting you to be there to help us to plant these trees. And for the kids, we will be assembling, if you will be able, at State House Day Nursery School. State House Day Nursery School. We will assemble at 8:15 so that we can be able to plant these trees, okay? So to wrap up these remarks, I will be inviting Madam Yvonne from Save the Children. Yes.
The thing about speaking last is that there's nothing left to say. It has all been said, really. So all I will say is that as you make the call to action to the leaders, there's also a call to action to you. Two of the speakers have already said it, so I'll just layer it on. Group 3 talked about, some of the things that we do to the environment is because of lack of awareness. There's no lack of awareness in the room. You all know climate issues, right? So when you go back home to the school, to mom and dad and sisters, what will you be doing? Raising that awareness, right? Because it's based on that awareness that the collective becomes more aware of the environmental and climate issues, true? And then there was a group, I forget which group, group 5 said that we hope that this does not end here or at KICC, just talking and talking about it. Talk is cheap, yeah? It's about the doing. So I want you still as climate advocates, you talk about it, but you ask your leaders, your head teachers, your parents for accountability. You're like, we are done talking about climate. We need to do something about it, right? So it starts from the community all the way up to the leaders, to the global. So that's my call to you. As you leave this space, leave it as a bona fide climate activists. But thank you all for attending. I really enjoyed, being in the presence of young people, that energy, that enthusiasm. And all the best as we take this issue forward collectively. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Round of applause, round of applause. So now I want us to do our special clap. Our special clap from one of our children to come and do it for us, for our chief guests. Mike. So he'll do the special clap for our chief guests.
Hi. If you can see me, wave at me, please. Okay, we are going to do a special clap for our guests, and it is going to be like this. Clap for our guest, and another one, and another one. They are the best. Okay? Are we okay now? Yes. Can we start? Yes. Clap for our guest, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. They are the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we are arriving at the end of our program. Oh, please, if you lost your sweater, please see SpongeBob. SpongeBob has a sweater someone lost. The sweater. So if you lost this sweater, just go see SpongeBob over there and pick it. Yes, thank you. So we're going to go to our vote of thanks, which will be done by one of our children, Miss Nadine Joki. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes.
Hi. So, I've noticed you guys don't have energy. So, can we all stand up? Please. So, we're just going to play the same game we've been playing, Simon Says. But I'm going to do it very fast, okay? So, Simon says, touch your legs. Simon says, touch your head. Stomach. Aha, sit down. Simon says, touch your toes. Knees. Sit down. Blue jacket, sit down. Just sit down. Simon says, touch your hair. Simon says, touch your tags. Shirt. Aha, sit. Okay, so we can all sit down. I didn't say Simon says. So all of you lose. Except our chief guest. Okay. Simon says stand. Sit. Simon says spin. Stop. Just sit. Okay, just because of time management, we cannot just sit down. So, my name is Nadine Joki. I'll be giving... my name is Nadine Joki, and I'll be giving the vote of thanks. So, I hope we all had a great time here the past 2 days. It's been a wonderful event. Everything has gone with a good flow. We've all had a good time. I hope that. If you didn't have a good time, raise up your hand. Imran. If you had a good time, raise up your hand. Wow. So I want 3 people from each section. 4 people to come and tell us what they liked about the 2 days. So someone from here, someone from here, here, and that side. Sorry, we can't do that because of time. But for me, I had a great time here. I know all of us had a great time. We were able to interact with everyone. We met new friends. We got to know a lot. We learned so much during the summit. And I want us to thank our able parents and the organization for bringing us here. So can we give a round of applause to them? Can we do the way Dora taught us? Remember, the 1, 2. And a big one. That is such a burden, but okay. Another applause for the cooks who have been able to be making food for us. I know we've all enjoyed the food. It was really, really good. So, clap for them. Applause for them. For the whole organization being able to bring us here, the moderators taking care of us, everything that has happened. We've all had such a great time, and I'm so happy that to see everyone smile all over the place, all of you just being so happy, being able to interact with each one of you. So can we also clap for the children for making this an able event, and us being here to make our voices be stronger. Clap for the kids, please. So, I know the adults, I don't know if you guys had fun, but you did? Okay, so clap for the adults. So, I want to thank you all for coming for the summit. Yes?
We will answer that in a few minutes. We will answer that in a few minutes.
But to shorten everything, I thank you for all coming here, enjoying your time, having a great time, and for our chief guests coming today. Thank you. Thank you very much. Your words were very inspiring today. Thank you.
A round of applause for Nadine. So thank you so much. So we're going to have our closing prayer from our one and only Imran. If you have any questions or suggestions, please, you will do that after our prayers. You'll just, if it's for the chief guest, you will see them after this. They'll be here engaging with you guys. If it's something else, you can see one of the adults. Yes, Imran, welcome.
Thank you, everyone. How are you doing? So I'm just going to pray. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. So thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much. A round of applause for Imran. A round of applause for Imran. All right. All right. Did you guys have fun? Did you guys have fun? Yes. You came here yesterday. Did you have fun? Yes. We are literally at the end. So did you guys have fun? Yes. Okay. I'm getting a no from this side. Did you guys have fun? Yes. Did you guys have fun?
Why are we hearing no's?
I'm hearing no's. What is no's? Okay? So your voices are here. I need them at here. Did you guys have fun? Yes! Okay, I'm getting yes for the most part. Did you guys enjoy the food? Yes! Did you guys enjoy the sessions? Yes! Which team won? Which team won? Team one? Which team won? Which team? I need one. Which one?
Loudest. 2 is the loudest.
You're saying team which one? I really don't understand. So I think what we are going to say is okay, I didn't hear anything. So what you're going to say is let's clap for God. Let's clap for God. Let's clap for God. Without the Most High, none of us would have been here. None of those teams that you've just said would have won. All right. But thank you so much for being here. I want to thank all the organizations that have been part of this amazing exercise, planning this pre-Africa Climate Summit for the children. Thank you so much, our chief guest, for making time to come here and talk to the children. Takes a lot to come and speak to young people like this. Thank you so much for every child. Clap for yourselves. Clap for yourselves. Clap for yourselves. Thank you so much for being here today and for representing children from across Africa. All right, it's the Africa Climate Summit. We have children from different parts of this continent in this room. So thank you so much for that. I have been your host, not presenter. I've been your host for this event, Omar Ahmed from Toto News and
Michelle Wanjiru from Toto News.
And at this point, we say goodbye. I'll see you guys in the next episode of Toto News and Omar Ahmed and Michelle Wanjiru. Peace.